Happy Mechagodzilla March, random ladies and gents, and welcome to Random Reviews, where I review toys, movies, games, whatever. I don't know. Today is Mechagodzilla's birthday. That's right. As of today, Mechagodzilla has been kicking Godzilla's ass for 46 years. So this random review, we'll be taking a look at the film that started it all, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Debuting in 1974, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla is from the original series of Godzilla films, known as the Showa series. In the waning years of the Showa series, Godzilla became progressively geared more towards children with a more goofy, over-the-top, campy tone, a stark contrast to the original nuclear horror of the original Godzilla film from 1954. And this movie is by no means any exception. If anything, it meets the very definition of the phrase product of its time, and that's what makes it so good. This movie doesn't hold back on going as over the top as possible. From an alien plot to destroy the Earth, to an ancient prophecy, to a boat chase, to gunfights, giant monster fights, Godzilla turning into a giant magnet, Planet of the Apes, this movie is nuts! Might as well call it Mechagodzilla's Bizarre Adventures. The story of the film is a typical late Showa Godzilla film. Aliens have come to the Earth to invade it, and Godzilla has to team up with another monster to save it from another alien monster. This time, it's the Black Hole Third Planet aliens, you know what, I'm just gonna call it the Black Hole aliens, who want to take over the Earth with their ultimate weapon, Mechagodzilla, a mechanical duplicate made in the image of the real Godzilla, with only 3 things standing in their way: an ancient prophecy and 2 giant monsters, Godzilla and an ancient island guardian named King Caesar. Or Caesar. Caesar. The premise of the film, while simple, is fun and, unlike a certain other film, takes full advantage of it. The giant monster fights are shown, the action is non-stop, and the pacing of the overall film is a non-stop thrill ride. But that doesn't mean it's easy to follow. While the film never feels slow, the plot itself is executed in a way that makes it feel all over the place, with some plot elements just appearing out of nowhere. Like the aliens just show up, no solid build-up, just boom, they're there. And then you don't see them for half the film, and then they're back again for the rest of the movie for like 30 minutes. It's a bit jarring, but to the film's credit, it doesn't take away from the overall watch that much. If anything, the batshit insanity makes it more entertaining. While you may feel a bit lost, the movie's insanity only makes it more engaging, as it keeps cranking up the balls-to-the-wall lunacy. It never feels out of place or outright random, making it more entertaining and by no means immersion-breaking, because it never feels like anything is completely random. Everything is so insane that it all somehow makes sense. This film knows it's nuts. It fully embraces it, right down to the editing. All this film wants to do is just to take you on the ride of your life. The human characters aren't that notable. They're mostly there for the audience to follow along and have some plot, and they aren't really that interesting or anything special. Even if they are a bit boring as characters, the actors themselves go out of their way to bring pretty good performances, be it extremely good or hilariously over the top. Also, fun fact, the actor playing Professor Wakuda also played Shinichi Chujo in the original Mothra film, and reprised that role in Tokyo SOS. Not only that, but he was also one of the pilots from Godzilla Raids Again, the second Godzilla movie. Wait, so he starred in the second Godzilla film, before going on to star in the original Mothra film, and then went on to star in the original Mechagodzilla film, and then came back and starred in a film featuring Godzilla, Mothra, and Mechagodzilla almost 3 decades later?
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
The Black Hole aliens are your classic mustache-twirling aliens that want to take over the world because reasons. Interestingly though, while they do seem like generic aliens straight out of Star Trek, make no mistake, they managed to make it even more straight out of Star Trek by making them ape men, as if they weren't ripped out of a Star Trek episode already. I'm dead serious, their true forms are just guys in ape suits. It's like they're extras from Planet of the Apes. Speaking of suits, let's talk about some monsters. The monsters are some of the best parts of this film. Godzilla himself is more of a heroic character like he was in all the late stage Showa films. No more stomping on cities for this guy, just kicking alien ass and taking names. Godzilla himself is barely in the film, only showing up once in the first act before showing up in the final battle to assist King Caesar. King Caesar is an interesting monster to say the least. Like Mothra, King Caesar is an island guardian that fights for humanity rather than kicking over buildings for shits and giggles. His design is a bit, intimidating. But it's still a fun, unique design in comparison to other kaiju in the series. Inspired by a mythical creature called a shisha, an animal that resembles a weird cross between a lion and a dog. So, Arc 9. And to top it all off, King Caesar has an interesting little power. He can reflect energy beams with his eyes, so it makes the fight scenes a bit more interesting. The plot pretty much revolves around King Caesar being awakened to stop Mechagodzilla, so it's not like he's a random sidekick to team up with Godzilla out of nowhere. In fact, it's the other way around, since Godzilla randomly just shows up to help himself. Hold up! A film with weird, bizarre, over-the-top, balls-to-the-wall shit happens, where one of the main characters is named Caesar? Oh my god! This is Mechagodzilla's Bizarre Adventures! Speaking of, let's talk about the mechanical monster himself, Mechagodzilla. There's a reason why Mechagodzilla became so popular with fans, and spawned a sequel after this movie, and has remained popular to this very day, and that's because he's so damn cool! By campy standards of the Showa series, Mechagodzilla was an absolute badass. He's a stone cold cyborg with one mission, and no one's gonna get in his way. And if some walking rug or future radioactive handbag gets in his way, he's fully armed to the teeth. Literally head to toe. With lasers, rockets, shields, the works. And it makes the final battle even more of an intense struggle for Godzilla and King Caesar to face at the end, having to pull out all the stops just to bring him down. As a result of him being a walking armory, he's the second monster ever to make Godzilla bleed, with Gigan being the first. Mechagodzilla was an absolute Terminator in this movie, and it's because of this that he's managed to become such a staple of the franchise. And did I mention that his theme absolutely slaps? Can't get enough of that theme. Oh, and Anguirus is there too. Mechagodzilla breaks his jaw. Which brings me to my next point, the effects. The effects and suits are a bit campy and a bit goofy, which is fine. It was a 70s sci-fi movie, and to top it off, it was a movie geared towards younger audiences, so the effects aren't gonna be top of the line. But that doesn't mean they're subpar either. The effects in this film are really well utilized, and while the effects can be a bit cheesy, what am I saying, they are cheesy, the film does make good use of practical effects. Although the blood effects can be a bit excessive, and I'm not saying that because I'm squeamish, because I'm not, but I'm just saying it stands out because even though the movie is over the top, it's one of the few over the top things in the film that can be a bit jarring. The cinematography is also really good despite the campiness. Even if the content that they're filming itself is campy, the filmmakers still went out of their way to make the film look visually striking with interesting shot composition that really catches the eye and leaves you on the edge of your seat. Or potentially laughing your ass off, either or. Overall, this film is amazing! Highly recommended to any audience. It's fun, it's full of action, and the sheer amount of craziness mixed with the immense amount of campiness makes it where you'll be bound to be entertained one way or another. This film is not only a great Godzilla movie, but a great movie as a whole. I mean, it's not something you expect to win an Oscar, because let's face it, It's not, but it's something you can still sit down and enjoy just for the hell of it, and just enjoy it for the fun. While the film is by all accounts a product of its time, it is by all means a film that ensured a legacy throughout time by setting the stage for a timeless character.